You know, global mobilization was pretty good and the updates have been even better, but we all know that Prairie Fire is on a completely different level, right? And turns out it's just about to get its first major update as well, which is going to be absolutely insane. It's got a new map, new weapons, and new vehicles. So guys, this is BillyEatWorld again, and let's find out. Alright guys, how you going? Welcome to the video, and like I said, today we are taking a look at the brand new Prairie Fire 1.1 update, which is now on the Creator RC branch. And what you're seeing on screen now is the big ticket item from this update, the brand new map called Khe Sanh. Now, like I said, we're also going to be getting new vehicles and weapons as well, and we're going to get into that in just a bit. But needless to say, this is pretty huge. The fact that we're even getting a new CDLC map is insane. Good maps take years to develop, and just like Cam Leo Nam, this one is pretty special. Now, just before we get into that too much further, I definitely should point out that this is obviously still work in progress content. Like I said, the update isn't out yet. It's only on the public test branch. And if it's anything like when Prairie Fire originally came out, things will change on this before launch. With that being said though, I haven't had any major issues with the new content so far. What you can see here is a quick version of my direct action dynamic mission running on Khe Sanh, and so far it's worked flawlessly. By the way, it's not out yet, but it is up on BillyEatWorld #1 if you want to give that a go. And of course, I'll put all the links to the other DA versions down below in the description if you want to give them a try until this one comes out. Now, speaking of Khe Sanh, let's take a look at the new map, and probably the first thing you're going to want to know is that Khe Sanh is inspired by the real-world battle from the Vietnam War. Basically, Khe Sanh was the location of an important US combat base, and in 1968 it was besieged by the North Vietnamese Army and later abandoned by the US forces. Now, probably the most important thing you're going to want to know is that the terrain is really hilly, and that's kind of the main thing you're going to notice about this new map. There's lots of towns and objectives on the top of mountains, for example, or built into the side of cliffs, which makes it pretty different from the layout of the other Prairie Fire map, Cam Leo Nam. Now, as you'd expect, it still kind of looks a lot like Cam Leo Nam because it's using the same Prairie Fire assets, and the towns and camps are built just as densely as well. And if you've played the other map, well, you'll know what this means already. It looks really immersive, but that's not always the best thing for a good frame rate. Personally, I think Khe Sanh is a little bit better than Cam Leo Nam, but they're still both a lot worse performance-wise than a map like Altus. So make sure you turn your object view distance all the way down on this map. That's the setting that renders in nearby objects, and it's also the one that tanks your frames if you've got it set too high. Now, as for objectives, well, mostly you're going to find little villages, but you will notice there's quite a few bigger things to explore as well. For example, there's 3 airfields and quite a few bigger camps and defensive positions, which is exactly what you want to see when you're building big dynamic missions like this one. Just like Cam Leo Nam, there's also quite a few temples and stuff as well, and some of them are actually underground. And of course, it's Vietnam, so you've got lots of rivers to move around on and lots of jungle to make your life hard when you're using anything other than aircraft for transport. And really, I think that's the main point that I want to make about Khe Sanh. It's not like Wefelingen where you can just run riot with a tank through every objective. In this one, you'll have to think about how you want to approach objectives. You can't just take in your armored convoy every time, at least not easily. There's even some objectives that are basically inaccessible to anything but aircraft. The point you can see here is called Rock Pile, and it's basically just a camp on top of a mountain. You can walk up it, or you can paradrop onto it, or you can take in a helicopter, but that's really about it. And there's quite a few other points on the map, like this one, that offer similar sorts of challenges. So with that being said, I think it's safe to say that the new map is pretty good, but what about the other content? Let's take a look at that. And first up, like I said, we've got a couple of new weapons. We've got 3 different variants of the iconic Thompson submachine gun, and we've also got 2 new LMG variants of the Stoner 63, all with really detailed reload animations. Now, as well as the Tommy gun, we've also got a couple of other SMGs. They're giving us the Uzi and the Scorpion, and we're also getting this weird underwater gun called the Mark 1 UDG. I haven't really figured out how to use that yet. And finally, I should also mention, as if Prairie Fire didn't already have enough cosmetic items, the devs are also adding in a bunch of new helmets and Navy SEAL uniforms and vests as well. So that's really good if you're into that realistic milsim kind of thing. Now, as for vehicles, well, we're not getting that many this time around, but what we are getting are some much needed US static weapons and a tow missile jeep, which is really important considering there aren't a lot of anti-vehicle options in Prairie Fire for the US factions, unless you're running it alongside mods like Unsung. Now, not just that, but they're also giving us some civilian vehicles as well, which could be really good if you're designing missions around covert operations, or maybe you just want to give the Viet Cong something a bit more authentic to a guerrilla faction, rather than just giving them the standard NVA vehicles instead. But anyway, we're almost at the end of the video now, so just before we finish up, the question is then, when can we expect 1.1 to come out? And well, at the time of making this video, we don't know that yet. All we know is that it's going to depend on the sort of issues the testing uncovers in the RC branch, which normally runs for a week or two. So with that being said, if you want to try it out for yourself, you really need to get in and try it out ASAP before that ends. I'll leave all the details you'll need to download the RC branch down in the description below, and once you do have it downloaded, like I said, you can try out Khe Sanh on my server or on the official Prairie Fire testing server, and I'll leave the IP addresses for those down below as well. Now, one last thing I want to mention before I finish up is that you will see in this video there are quite a few vehicles that aren't part of Prairie Fire that I'm using. And the reason why I want to mention that is because they're from the Unsung Vietnam mod, which is still kind of necessary at the moment because Prairie Fire doesn't have a lot of ground vehicles. But in saying that, I think this update kind of shows that maybe over time we'll have enough content in Prairie Fire that you won't actually need other mods. And the same thing goes for global mobilization, and I'm hoping it's going to apply to Iron Curtain eventually as well. Either way, it's just one more step forward in making CDLC worth it. But anyway, guys, that is just about it for this video. So as always, please let me know what you think in the comment section. And just remember that I can't possibly cover every single detail in one video. I will make mistakes and I will miss things. So if you think I have, please put it in the comments down below so that other people can take a look. As always, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and check out the links on screen now and in the description if you want to check out any more of my videos. And also don't forget you can find my Twitter and Discord links down there as well if you want to keep in touch. And until next time, see you later and have a good one.